Hello, everyone. It's Dr. Jim Hoven here with another episode of the Ramos Law Difference Makers podcast. And today I have the chance to talk to someone who has made a difference in the Denver community for a long time. Once I say her name, many of you, if you're from this area, are going to know her. You're going to recognize her name and her humongous personality. It is none other than Kathy J with me.
Yeah, Kathy J.
Here she is in the flesh, and I'm telling you, man, she fills up a room. Kathy, I'm like, wow.
Thank you, Dr. Hoven.
You are amazing.
Well, thank
and
you.
I know, our goal here is to literally put people on who are making a difference, who have made a difference. It's so important for us because it really, we try to weave it in with our core values as a company, and to know that our own beloved Tammy is such a good friend of yours.
Yes, Tammy Quintana.
Yes. And so we think like she's staple of who we are. She's a rock
amazing.
star.
Yes.
And to know that she knew you and she's like, oh yeah, she'll come on. I'm like, wait, what? Yeah. She's gonna come on with us. So thank you for your time. I know you're so busy and all this stuff.
You know what though? You've caught me at a great moment in my life. So it's totally fine, Jim, Dr. Hoven.
No, Jim's fine. Jim's fine.
Yeah, no, I'm honored to be here. I'm such a fan of the Ramos Law commercials. I'm such a fan of Dr. Ramos, like the things that I hear about, him being a doctor and a lawyer. Like, God, that's a win. Like,
insane, right?
You can't beat that.
Overachiever.
Exactly, right? Like, so I just think that, in his story, in your story, and it's everyone can make a difference in their own little way. And so it's an honor to be here and to have been a part of Denver for so long.
Well, I got to start there. So you came to Denver as a child, right?
When I was 4 years old.
4 years old.
I was here when there was, I grew up in Thornton.
Yes.
115th in Colorado.
Oh,
so
wow.
There was nothing.
At that time, that had to be like the boonies.
It was the boonies.
Yes.
There was nothing out there. There was the rec center. None of that was there. It used to be actually ditches, like deep caves that my older sister and all the teenagers would go on 112th in Colorado, and they'd go down and get lost in these caves that used to be out there in the property. It's just crazy because it was all farmland.
Isn't that something? When I grew up here as well,
Yeah.
and I went to Colorado State for my undergraduate training before going to Cairo school, and I would drive up. I had a girlfriend here my freshman year,
Yes.
so you'd come back every weekend.
Of course you would.
You know the deal,
Yeah.
right? And so it was so funny because we got back to civilization from Fort Collins at 120th.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you. At one point in my life, I actually lived up in Erie, Colorado, and the Erie
Even more
exit.
north.
Yes,
Yep.
even more north. And there, you're right. After 120th, you'd wave at Skate City, and then you would just head off, and you wouldn't find anything until you'd hit like Johnson's Corner,
That's
the
right.
truck stop,
Yep.
and then you'd head on up to Fort Collins.
To Fort Collins.
Yeah.
And now
it's houses and traffic all the way up
It's
the
one
highway.
neighborhood.
It's wild. It's wild.
And so we've been through this change
Yes,
together, right? We've
I
seen it
have.
grow and develop and evolve, and there's so many things to it. What was it in you, your personality? Has it always been so shiny and bright? Was there something that triggered a change in you? Where did this come from?
That's so sweet. No, this is me.
Always has been.
This has always been me.
Okay. So in school, were you like the class clown? Were you the
No, not
popular
class
girl?
clown.
What were
no,
you?
definitely not popular.
Okay.
In fact, I became student body president.
Yes.
Because I got all the other groups that weren't popular and said, "Are we sick of the popular kids always running our lives? Let's all band together, vote for me, and let me be your student body president." And I did.
Are you kidding
And I
me?
won. That's how I won.
Okay. So what does the student body president do to
Oh, gosh.
honor those commitments, if you will? Like, you're now a politician. You do that. What
I
did you do?
didn't go with the student council that was all the cheerleaders that got appointed. I actually created my own council. One was the representative of the goth kids. One was the representative of the band kids. I had a representative from like the leader of all these different groups, and I would meet with them. And we did things with trash and recycling and, stuff that you're worried about when you're a teenager. It was just nice. Like kids, the goth kids wanted to be out on the field, and didn't want to be bothered because, they'd go out there and smoke.
Right.
And it was always like they were looked upon. And so it was just more understanding, more communication went a long way when they explained, we don't want to be around these kids. Let us have our peace. Then the security wasn't as nervous about them out there. They had more respect of the area that they were hanging out in. They wouldn't just put cigarette butts everywhere. Like, it became a real cool piece of communication. And I think that that's where I realized you can really combine so many people if you just get them to talk.
Wow.
know?
But you're 17, 18 years old at this time.
It was-
Like when you say, oh, yeah, all the concerns of 17, 18-year-olds, I had a concern.
Yeah, and
but
it was a girl.
It was a girl. That was my concern.
Right.
Sports and girls were my
well,
concern.
I was a band nerd, so I wasn't, my high school boyfriend turned out to be gay. So, so obviously, I'm still best friends with him to this day.
It's
actually
best.
Larry's husband, Larry Ulibarri,
No
who I did the morning show with.
kidding?
Yeah.
Oh, so
Isn't that
cool.
weird? So I have a Will and Grace story in my life.
That is wonderful.
It
And
is.
so you went to college around here then,
Fort
right?
Lewis College
Fort
down
Lewis?
in Durango.
Yep.
Yeah, I got a first generation scholarship because my parents, nobody had been to college before me.
Okay.
And then I worked for the school to pay for the rest of my college.
Did you
'cause,
know that you were going to be in media at that time?
You know what? I went for television. So I went down to Durango because they had a good television radio program. And so I went for television, but then I ended up getting, it's funny, Ken Clark, who does the traffic and the morning anchor on Channel 2, we were in a class one day down in Durango, and he said, we need a girl for our radio show. You're kind of funny. Do you want to hang out with us? And I needed the credit, so I went and we created it turned into a comedy troupe, and we had a radio show, and it was just, this is what I've learned in life. Don't ever take that step on the ladder. Even if you feel it's a lateral move or something, you got to keep trying opportunities that come your way.
So when you say don't take the step on the
Oh, no,
ladder.
do take the
do
step.
Take
I'm
the
sorry.
step.
Thank
Okay.
you for hearing
yes,
me
do
say
take
it
the
wrong.
step on the ladder.
Take that step up the ladder.
Yeah.
I mean, because take that chance because it leads to another person that's going to know of a person or you. It's all about getting experience too. I feel like my whole life on the radio, like I didn't like my voice until I was like 6 years in.
Really?
I felt like it's very deep. Hey, how's it going?
Oh, I just got moved. Like I felt the vibrato of that.
I'm Johnny Cash. That was from my dad. He always wanted me to sing his songs with him. But, it took me a while it takes a long time to get comfortable with who you are and how you present yourself. And so you just have to keep trying different things through your life. And when something feels right, stay with it and keep moving that way.
But so now you're going to TV. Did you have when you go to school for that, did you have mentors or people that you looked up to that said, I want to be that person? That's why you wanted to go to TV. Anybody like that?
No, the TV thing was something in my heart when I was a teenager told me that I wanted my own TV show. And so in Thornton, like driving up Colorado Boulevard, heading over to, down on 84th to get to the North Valley Mall. Do you remember North Valley Mall?
I do remember the North Valley Mall.
I just always something in me was just like one day, you're going to have your own show and you're really going to be able to help people on a big platform because that's really what I want to do. Like when I did the radio show with KS 1075, it was awesome. I had two great partners with Larry and Kendall, and we had a program every Christmas called the Christmas Wish. And it won awards, and people talked about it every year, and they couldn't wait for it to come up. And the main reason is because it connected the community to help the people. So the heating people, everybody has trade, but nobody has cash. You know that in business.
Absolutely.
Like the HVAC people, they have a heater they can give away, but they don't know if they can trust who they're giving that to. They don't. So at Christmas time, it was the perfect way for me to give them free love on the radio if they'd give me a heater that I could give to this family that wrote me a letter saying they need it. So it was a beautiful program, and it's really where I shine. And I did public service interviews the whole 15 years I was with KS 175. So I really got to know everybody in the community. There's a cause for anything. There's an ailment that everybody has. And so the more we can highlight and try to get help to everybody, that's really what I love doing. Isn't that silly?
It's
and
amazing.
then entertaining. Obviously, you got to find laughter through it because life is a struggle. Life is going to throw you those curveballs, and it's all about the choices you make. And is this the time that you're going to leave that guy finally? Or are you going to stay with him a little longer? There's always a choice of how you want to live. And
so let me ask you this.
Yeah.
When you were going through this, what you said reminds me of someone who is still on the radio today that I have heard for a long time. And I'm not an active listener. I just catch her sometime. And she's nationally syndicated, this Delilah person.
Oh, yeah, Delilah.
So what you're sharing with me from the TV side, the connection, the entertainment, the helping.
Yeah.
She gives this advice, right? And leave
She's
the
the
guy
advice lady,
and
right.
do this kind of thing. are you wired that way? If I were pegging you, and you and I have known each other for 5 minutes, right?
Right.
I'm going to say that one of your core values is being a helper, an engager, a galvanizer of people, a connector, so that you have a purpose with that to create something better. Is that just who you are?
Yeah. I mean, like, you hate to say it. I mean, I don't hate to say it. I've always considered, like, I've been a healer to people. I've been, like, people have different ways that I have helped them or touched them, and it's an honor for any of it. I did come out here when I was 4 years old, but I'm from a very small town in the mountains on the East Coast. And so, I mean, when we say small, it is generation after generation after generation that lives there. So everybody knows either your grandparents or their parent, like, it's one of those situations. And my grandma was the town nurse. And so in a small town that's in poverty, people there make $12,000 a year. Okay. So in a small town like that, in the middle of the woods, and you got the town nurse, she's getting called all the time. So I was going out with her and she was a volunteer firefighter. So she was a single mom. Like, I learned so much from her about show respect to people. I mean, we went out to a house at 2:00 in the morning one time, and literally I could see the moonlight coming through the roof on these people, on this
Holes
house.
in the ceiling.
In the literal ceiling. But it was and she was never scared of us going into the woods. She always spoke with respect when these people came out of the dark, and she would help them. I mean, like, my grandma taught me to love everybody until they give you a reason not to,
Yes.
So I've been fortunate that my heart was nurtured from a very young age as how much little you can do to really help somebody in a big way.
That is impressive.
Well,
and so
thank you.
is grandma one of your stalwart mentors?
She's my warrior. Yeah.
She
She passed away, unfortunately, when I was in college. So, but everything she's taught me has stayed with me,
Yes.
And it's how I live my life, how I want to live my life. The personality probably came from my mom and my dad, definitely. But it's been a struggle. I was bullied like a lot of kids, and it stayed with me.
Because you were a band kid?
Band kid. I was heavy. I was, overweight. But that stayed with me, and I wasn't the rich kid, so I had a lot of angst, but it wasn't any kind of anger. It was more or less like, I just feel like I know what real people go through because I've gone through it.
I remember there was one time when I was in 6th, 7th grade, and I remember this, like you say, these traumas, they stick with you.
They do.
And there was a group of kids that I was friends with, and we started playing football together. I played football from when I was 7 all the way up through high school, every year, the whole thing. And I just had one phase in my life where I got heavy, and my nickname was Fat Man as a kid.
Wow.
And it crushed me.
Now,
on one side, it made me cry, it hurt my feelings. And on the other side, I'm like, that will never, ever, ever happen again. Like, it pissed me off so bad.
Right.
But I'm like, I'm too young to be pissed off.
Right.
You know what I mean? I
Right,
shouldn't
right,
have to go through that.
Right.
And so when you say bullied and those kinds of things, we've had guests on this podcast that they do a thing called Theater of the Oppressed, and they talk about the school to prison pipeline and how they interrupt that.
Yes.
It's fascinating. And so I'm thinking, you have this, again, there's just something about you. And was it bottled up and was it compressed because you were bullied and because you didn't look like the other kids? Maybe you were a little bigger?
No, I just think I always felt like I'll prove you wrong.
Okay. Love that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, you know what? And I think that's why I stayed heavy for other reasons, but, I've had a lot of fun with a lot of you guys out there, so, don't let it fool you. Like, this is good loving right here, doctor. So, but, it literally, it was a lot of, I'll prove you wrong.
Okay.
I got, even being a DJ on the #1 morning show in Denver for hip hop, I'll prove you wrong. Like, a white girl from Thornton can definitely understand hip hop. I can definitely understand the struggle.
Were you into it?
Absolutely.
So were you into all the musicians and the music
Absolutely.
and the themes and whatnot?
The Chronic. Back in the day, like East Coast, West Coast rappers. I was a '90s child of hip hop. And then it's just stayed with me. I mean, I love hip hop. So yeah. But I love all genres of music.
I do as well.
Yeah.
What?
You have to. I think you have to know everything.
To
like I'll
appreciate
turn
it.
classical on sometimes when I need my kids to quiet down.
How old are your kids?
Oh my gosh, 7 and 5.
Oh, wow. See, that's when our kids are all older, right? The youngest is
You're
24.
so lucky. You're so lucky.
Yes.
See, I did the career thing,
Yes.
and then I was like, okay. And you know why I did the career thing? This is a funny story. The reason why I got my chance on the radio was because the girl before me went on maternity leave. Like, I don't think men understand the sacrifices that women make with the kids, because it really ends your career for a minute.
1,000%.
Yeah. And so she had gone so far. She came from San Francisco, Jennifer Wild, and she had a baby and gave me a chance to come fill in for her while she was on maternity leave. She had a second kid. I got to come in, fill in again. And it was enough for them to say, let Kathy have it when she left. And you know, you really have to learn yourself being on the air and stuff, but I was so scared to have children because I was worried it would stop my career.
Yes.
And so I kept going until it got to a place. Also, I need to find the right guy.
Yep.
Like, you know, like
Yeah, you don't want to have a kid
oh my
just to have a
God.
kid.
I have a good guy, and it's still hard having kids. So I needed to. But you know, we all make different decisions,
Yes.
and definitely my career influenced my life.
How far did you want to take it? How far did you want to go on the TV side? Did you want to go up to Oprah? Did you?
Oh, yeah. I always figure, you know what? I always tell people that I wanted my own TV show, but some lady named Oprah got there first. Like, I always say that because I'm just like, how dang it, I could do that. So, you know, I just know that that's, you know, I've had this dream, and that's the journey that I'm currently on. So,
Sweet.
yeah.
Okay. Now, have you said radio thanks, but no thanks from this point?
No. I still love radio.
Still love radio.
Yeah, and there's actually some stations out there that have are currently like talking to me about coming on their stations. But you know, at the moment, I'm really putting my heart into a dream that's been a long time coming.
So two people that I'm sure you know or have heard of have
Yes.
been guests on this podcast.
Yes.
Actually, maybe 3. Cha-Cha Chavez.
I love Cha.
Yes,
I love Cha.
she was great. She blew me
She was
away.
a mentor for me. That
she really?
woman is amazing. Before I was even on the radio, when I was in college, I got to meet Cha because of Larry Ulibarri. And that woman, she's always positive, always go for it. Always, yeah, like Cha is one of the best, always about the community.
Yes, that's what I found.
That woman is amazing.
Our time was just like this.
Yeah.
Like, it just flew by. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Number 2, Ernie Bjorkman.
I love Ernie.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Ernie was just a guest a couple of weeks ago. He and I have met through some other stuff that I can tell you about later, where it was some business stuff. And then
Yes.
he loves to fly fish, and I love to fly fish.
I was going to say, doesn't he live in Grand Lake?
He does.
Yes, right.
Yep.
Yeah, because I got to work with him right before he left Channel 2. What a great, yeah,
What a
he
great
does. He
human.
always has pictures of him fly fishing.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're a fly fisherman too.
I am.
Where do you go?
Well, I like to go up by Fairplay. It's
Uh-huh.
really cool because we have a little property up there that gives us access to a private river. I like to go by Basalt, if you know where Basalt
Yes,
is, between
yes.
Glenwood and Aspen. There's a cool confluence of the Roaring Fork and the Frying Pan.
Well, who
Love to
wouldn't
go
want
there.
to be between Glenwood and Aspen? That sounds like a lovely place to
Yes,
find fish.
yes, it is. If you can afford the gas and the food, and it's all good. So
Right.
anyway, and the fish they just act different.
Yeah, totally. They're a little snooty.
They're a little snooty, those trout. And then the third
They have
one.
fur coats on.
Yes, they do. In the water. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing.
Do you know Jerry Schimmel from the work that your husband does?
No.
So Jerry Schimmel has been the voice of either the Nuggets or the
Yes,
Rockies.
then. Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
And now
yes.
he has a podcast or a show that he does, radio syndicated show called Great Americans. And so I had met him through another kind of business thing. And so he and I are friends and check him out now, and we get a chance to visit. And what I love about the personalities, I've never been a guy that has known any personalities as far as on-air talent.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Never.
Right.
Until the last 2 years. And so now, thanks to Tammy, meeting you guys,
Yes.
there's such a continuum that I feel and that I see with you guys. Is there something that you notice among personalities, on-air talent, that you have to have a certain set of these characteristics to make it happen? Or can some people just turn it on for showtime, and then when the lights go off, then they're
I've seen
big
both.
different?
I've
Okay.
seen both. You know, they always say like comedians, they're really, and they are, comedians are very different off stage. Like, they are not the, hey, zany, blah, blah, blah. Like, they are a lot of times they're so reserved when you interview them to the point that you're like, I'm supposed to be interviewing you for your show at Comedy Works tomorrow night, and you are not giving me anything good.
Tell me something funny.
Yes,
I
you
beg
are
of
not
you.
doing the shtick, you know. So I think everyone's different. There's I've plenty of country guys. There's one DJ, And he's in person, you would go, okay, you know, nice guy. He's great. I love him. And then as soon as he turns on the radio, this guy comes out, you know, and everybody's different. And so you're saying that you've noticed that we're all
that you
happy.
have this, well, there's an energy there. And
Yeah.
I know that you all go through stuff, but there's a positivity, there's a connection, there's a commitment to bring the audience something, right?
Yes.
To entertain, to educate, to inspire,
To connect
whatever
to
it might
'em.
be, to connect.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know if that's kind of in the heart and the DNA of the people,
I
or
don't
like
know.
some athletes, you know, some athletes, they do it for the money
Yeah.
because they're just that good.
Yeah,
And
well, no,
some
there's
do
a
it
lot
for
of
the
ego.
game.
There's definitely ego in radio and the media and stuff. So you definitely have the people that are like, I want to be famous. Like, I'm doing this because I want to be famous, you know? And then there's the people that are like I always told people, and they go, oh, you're so famous. I'm like, well, I just have a really cool job. Like, I'm no different from you. I just have a really cool job. Like, you know, like anyone could be doing this. You know, I just was very lucky to get here, and the stars aligned, and I was able, you know, and I was able to keep it for 15 years. And then after that, of course, I went and worked at Flow 107.1, which was also hip hop. So that's what I love. I mean, Ice Cube is my boy.
He is?
Yeah,
Ice Cube, the
I go
Cube.
Back. I go back.
I love that. I'm a big Eminem guy.
Are you really?
Interestingly enough.
He's a magical man with what his
Yep.
lyrics are.
You
So.
know, you know who's really hitting the scene right now, who I can't believe? Snoop Dogg. He's
back?
everywhere.
Well, yeah, you hang out with Martha Stewart, you get your own cooking
Right.
show. Now I mean,
Cheetos,
he will always be classic.
Corona, he's everywhere.
Can I just tell you, that man knows how to give the look and make any lady go, "Ah."
He does not.
He is amazing at that. So the one time backstage, like, he will make the biggest girl feel sexy. He will make an old lady feel sexy. He just has this way of, you know, hey, baby, you know, like, I see you over there, mama. I see you looking. And, you know, he's very good at what he does, and he's genuine, and he's cool as hell.
Is he really? Well,
Yeah.
you know, now I saw him because I'm a fan of The Voice, right? Like that show.
Yes.
He's the guest coach, the
Is he really?
the super mentor, whatever they call
Yeah,
it. So
right,
he'll
right.
be on next Monday. I'm like,
For who? For which?
For all the coaches.
Oh, really? How
So,
neat.
Yeah, so he's going to be on next Monday. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, yeah, no, that's going to be cool. That's going to be great.
I got to say, I've watched some of your stuff and checked it out.
Yeah.
And you have interviewed some amazingly high profile folks. Are there any stories or any that just really stuck out for one reason or another that you'd like to share?
There's so many. There's really so many stories. Like Kathy Bates is amazing to talk to. You just want to keep talking to her. The Rock.
I saw that clip of you where you were like, he's talking and your eyes were dropping
My
down.
eyes might have gone down.
And
but
they
I'd
were
like-
laughing, and I was laughing. And I don't know if, because when they showed the camera on him, he was kind of looking up thoughtfully, paying attention to whatever was going in his
Right,
mind.
he
And you're like,
was,
yeah,
he
right.
was.
What were you saying?
Do you know he was so sweet? That interview with The Rock, it was for Rampage, so just recently, and he was running later as people were, so interviews were getting pushed, and I'm in my head going, I have to catch a flight. I need to get his interview. I'm, 2 hours off now. There's no way I'm going to catch my flight. And so I went and told the studio, you got to help me. Like, I can't, I have 2 little girls at home. I'm not staying, because to them, they were like, oh, you stay another night at the Hilton or at the Four Seasons, congratulations.
Yeah,
we'll
good
give
for
you
you.
150 per diem. And I'm like, you don't get it. I got little kids. Like, I can't,
Yes.
I'm going home.
Yes.
And so they mentioned something to The Rock and to his people, and they were like, maybe he'll fit you in before lunch. So I was like, ugh. So I stood there and I was begging, and it was completely empty out there. And then I hear him, there's some girl in there doing a Fandango interview, and she's like, so what do you like on your pizza? Is it pineapple? And she's just doing these dumb, stupid girl questions, and she's in her little mini skirt, and I'm just like, give me this. And so he says goodbye to her, stands up, and I can tell he's leaving for lunch. And
Yes.
someone says, there's one more interview out if you can get her before her flight. And I hear him, because it's a studio, so the walls aren't really that thick. And he says something like, like, how much time is it and stuff? And I just yelled, if you could help me, I really would appreciate it. I got to catch my flight. And he came out of the room, and the actors never usually do that, because they're already sitting in the chair with the right lighting on them. The makeup is perfect. It's very Hollywood. And he came out of the room and he was like, get in here. So I came in, and my last name's Johnson. His is Johnson. There was a connection. I had 3 minutes to talk to him.
So what do you now? How long did you think you were going to have? Did you know?
I was hoping for 4.
Okay.
In radio world, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so in TV land, 60 seconds is a huge difference, and you don't get that until you understand it, until you work in it. But so I was just like 3 minutes. So I got the questions out, and you're trying to get somebody to like you in the 3 minutes you're talking to them. It's
Connect.
a very connect. It's a very high pressure situation, but he was so cool. And then that's why I got a picture with him, because you're not supposed to ask for pictures. It's very rude, unprofessional.
Okay.
But he was standing up to leave to go to lunch, and I was like, if you could give me a picture, I will be the coolest kid in all of Denver, please. And he was like, absolutely. And his big arm, his big muscly, good smelling arm came around me, and I just melted and took the photo, and thank God it came out right. Because I would have been, because I have a picture with Ice Cube, and it's so fuzzy you can't even tell. And I'm like, ah! So, you get one shot, and I'm glad it worked out. But he was amazing.
He was amazing.
Just like you would think The Rock would be.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Any others that you were like just really?
I got to meet the Black Panther. I got to meet Chadwick Boseman. Yeah.
Okay.
And he was amazing. Just to meet him, and it was for Black Panther. He's amazing. Will Smith, he will light up a room. You say I lit up a room when I came in.
Imagine
that guy. He's just amazing. So I mean, I've had so many amazing experiences, and it was all great, and it was all learning lessons, really.
Were there any that, because of that initial spark, that 3-4 minute connection, that then they're like, you know what? I want to talk to you more. Like,
yeah. Amy Poehler.
Okay.
I got to hang out with Amy Poehler a little longer. There was Melissa McKinley, McCarthy. Melissa. Now I can't
McCarthy.
Melissa McCarthy. We were talking about her clothing line. So even though we had stopped time, she was still asked, because I was like, please give me a outfit that I don't need to wear a jacket with. Like I got these bigger arms, and she was like, I told you. She was off camera to her like assistant. I told you we need dresses with sleeves. So things like that have been really fun to be a part of. But it's not my world. I realize that that is a machine, Hollywood.
Okay.
And it's just not my world. I don't know how it is now post-pandemic, but I really have come back to, I'm fortunate that I had those experiences, but I really like normal people, regular people.
So tell me about your world now.
They're my superstars.
So you love normal people. Now you're connected to doing all these things.
When I say normal people, I mean you listening and me. Like just average people that understand the struggle and what life really is. And you're not buying $3,600 purses when there's a family over here that could get out of debt for $3,600.
Yes, yes.
So really, the pandemic last year, I became unemployed for the first time since I was 13 years old. Have you been working your whole life?
I have.
Yeah, since you were how old?
14.
What was your first job?
At this place called The Rib off of Alameda and Sheridan. It was a barbecue shop.
Yes.
And my dad had always said, he goes, look, Jimmy, you're going to have your whole life to work, and you're a good football player and you're a kid. Do both until you can't.
Yeah.
So he really supported me, but I wanted my own money.
Yeah.
And so then, so I would go up there and work except for football season, right? And then I would work a couple of times, but then I couldn't even drive yet. So I would go and I would hope that the ribs and the chicken I would let them cook too long on the smoker and then kind of rip them so you couldn't sell them to people. And then it was like, I would eat so much barbecue. It was amazing. So that was my first job in understanding. Yeah.
Nothing. Birch, another one.
Nothing to see here. Yep. I'll ring you up in a few minutes.
It's going to take another 6 minutes. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So that's where I started on my working career. And
that's awesome. Yeah. Mine was mowing a cemetery.
No, it was not.
You have no idea, Dr. Hovind, how many jobs I've had, because you had to have one where you went to college, you had to have one in the summer, you had to have one while you were here at school. So yeah, my first one was mowing a cemetery, the Catholic cemetery.
How did you get that gig?
Oh, it's small town.
You got to know somebody.
Small town, small town living. Summer, somebody was like, my grandmother was like, my granddaughter's gonna be here this summer. She needs something to do.
And this was the nurse.
My nurse grandma. And so she hooked me up with the lady that was also a single mom that actually had like a landscaping business. And my friend and I, her daughter was my best friend at the time, and we mowed a cemetery.
And now, would you ever sneak back in there at night and do what crazy kids do? Like,
no,
ooh, we want to go see if there's ghosts. It's haunted.
It was hard enough mowing over a plot. Like, because I'm the kid that jumps over stones. Like, I don't want to step over somebody's body.
Yeah.
So I would be like, like I would push the mower over the bodies and jump over them and catch the mower on the, and it was an old cemetery, so there were beehives and all that. I mean, but you learn everything. I mean, I've done so much. I worked at Arby's. I did road construction for Brandon Sand and Gravel here in Denver for 2 summers because they paid so good. It was my way to pay through college,
So you worked your way through college.
Work here one summer for Brandon and pay the way through college and keep moving. But no, I feel that's how I know the struggle. Like, do you see this skin cancer? No, I'm kidding.
That's from the road work.
It's from the baby oil while I was standing out on the highway.
There you go. Well, when you're talking about things now, what you want to do, you prefer TV over radio, but you love them both?
Love them both.
Yeah.
If I didn't have radio, I wouldn't have gotten as comfortable with who I am. Like, people really can see through you on radio. Like Cha-Cha, like it's a different kind of, you got to be real. Because people will understand, like they hear you if you're lying about something. If you're trying to pretend to be something you're not, it just comes through because it's your voice,
Yeah.
And so you just have to be okay with saying, yeah, I was teased, or yeah, this happened, yeah, I just tooted. Like, you just have to get comfortable with that. Whereas the TV people, they aren't like that. Mm-hmm. They are like, even Ernie Bjorkman, that guy is always smiling and he is smooth. Exactly. Like, you don't know that he toots. And I love you, Ernie. You can say, shout out to Ernie. So, it's just a different, people in the box are bred differently. And my personality was definitely more radio. So it was really cool. About 5 years ago when the Everyday Show, the TV show, called me and had me audition. They were doing a week of women in radio, Denver women in radio. And I auditioned against some other major, amazing women. Kelly Ford, she did country here in Denver forever. She was actually my mentor, I think, in radio. It was up her and Issa, who was on 95.7 at the time. It was just a lot of 5 of us, and I won the viewer's choice. And they asked if I wanted to come actually be the permanent co-host. So my day for 5 years started at 3:30. I would do the makeup and stuff because you got to get all.
You got to get ready.
TV.
You got to get right.
Then I would be at the radio station at 5. We would do the morning show at 9 a.m. I would leave, race through traffic downtown Denver, and we would go live at 10. And when I say live, we were live because I had no idea what that show was. So I'm grateful when people say that they loved it because it was literally live to me. My co-host, Chris Parente, thank God, he had time to go through the show and he knew what was coming up. I didn't know anything.
You were the improv.
I was the improv. It was improv the whole time. Like when I tell people, and I was going through my daughter was 6 months when I started on the show.
Oh, man.
And when she was around 2.5, I got pregnant again. And so I was keeping the schedule up because, like you, Dr. Hoven, I was taught you have to work. Mm-hmm. My family is middle class. You work. Hopefully you get a company that loves you. Hopefully you get a company that you can spend a good career with and they don't screw you when retirement comes. I've seen my parents both get screwed after giving their life to companies. So hopefully, that's what I was taught, and that's kind of who I am. And I don't want to, it's a hard way of living.
It is
9 to 5. And so, so I would do the live show from 10 to 11. Then I would record stuff for the TV show. So I'd get home around 3:30. The babysitter would leave, and then I was full-time mom. So it was just a nightmare of, oh my God, I'm so unprofessional. My phone's ringing, I think. I feel bad.
No, you're
great. But no, I was mom. And so it literally put me into a health issue.
Crisis.
Okay. And I had to quit and leave. But I was able to get everything together. So this past year that I've been unemployed, it's been a blessing.
And so
a true blessing.
Let me ask you this: with the unemployment thing, there's so many people that struggle, and the pandemic has wreaked havoc in every way, from every strata of success to every strata of human life, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially, everything.
Yes.
When this happened to you or for you, depending on how you look at it,
right?
How did you take that? Because again, you've got this effervescent, bubbly personality where you're like, "Ooh, it's all going to work out for the best." You're like, "What the what?" Like, how did it hit you?
Hey, I'm glad you think I have this bubbly personality, but there's the other side. There's the tired side that's cranky, mean, don't talk to me. My kids would rather be my friend than my daughters. But they, you know what? I didn't handle it well, but the main reason is because of it's the fact that someone's saying goodbye to you. It's the fact that the company was like, and it was definitely financial reasons because it's COVID and radio, who's in their cars? Nobody's listening to the radio. Like they all media went through a whole big issue last year, and I get that. So at first it was just me saying, but I thought we were cool. I thought you liked me. I thought, we were doing good together. It's that breaking up the team emotion. But then you're like, well, there's something better. There's just something better. But when the bills aren't getting paid because that money's not coming in, it gets real hard, definitely. And it took me right back to being the struggling kid, like when you'd be coming down the street and to your house and you see the water truck leaving because they just shut your water off. It's like, not that happened, thank God, because my husband is named Mr. Efficient. So if anybody's going to stretch my money, it's Mr. Efficient. That guy's a Rain Man when it comes to math. But, you're never far away from not having. And so it was good. Everything was good. And then I broke my foot and I was in a car accident. Like, it's been a year.
Oh, my gosh.
But it all had to happen because it had to happen.
So I think that's so inspirational because there are so many people that maybe haven't taken a look at it from that perspective. I've been so blessed that for me, I've essentially been an observer.
That's good.
Of the whole thing, right? Like,
right.
And I get it, and I realize that I am completely grateful for everything that's been about this to me, and I've learned my lessons for sure.
Right.
But I haven't lived the financial ruin. I haven't lived the thought of you're not enough to stay with us.
Have you lived the bill collector ever calling you?
Not through this. I certainly have.
Okay, good. Well, see, that
when I was first
then.
when I was first in practice, it was
Yes.
interesting. I really knew how to take care of people. I really was good at what I did as a chiropractor, really good as what I did as a sports doc, but I wasn't really good at business, and I owned my own practice.
Okay.
So I'm like, I'm seeing 50, 60, 70 people a day.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm having bill collectors call me because I'm like, healthcare, it's not a privilege, it's a right. You just come, essentially like, here's a shoebox, throw in some change, whatever you got,
Right.
we'll take care of you.
And people don't got.
And I didn't get it, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to charge for what you value, and people have to be able to value, and you can give so much care away, but you can't give all the care away.
I
so
know.
I had lessons to learn in that.
Yes, big heart needed to slow down.
Yes, and put myself around me with people that had those kind of skills that could teach me or could
You know
take
what?
those things off.
That's such an important thing. I too believe in reason, season, lifetime for people in your life.
Okay, wait, stop. Reason, season, lifetime. Tell me.
Yes, people are in your life for a reason.
Yep.
The season or a lifetime.
Love it.
And so, and you know that. You've heard that saying
I have,
before.
but I wanted people that might not have heard it to just
good
break
point.
that down.
And so the reason, if it's the boyfriend, I was in a domestic violence situation.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There was it's okay. The reason for that was for me to see the red flags and find my own inner strength, and then I became an advocate to help other women do that. So there was so you see the reasons in the hard lessons. The seasons to me are the people that you're like, they serve their purpose, and now I just feel like an anchor is attached every time, whether it's someone that you're dating that you should have left 2 years ago, or friends that are always negative, like there's a whole, you got to close the door on things for the other door to open. And the other door is better friends that don't borrow money from you, that have their own jobs, that their kids like your kid, like you got to, I come from a place where people don't always do the best, don't always make the right decisions, and you have to learn from that. And so the more that you can remind people this isn't the end, you need to just switch some things around, shut some doors on some people that are draining you, and your life can be what it's supposed to be. But so often, so many people are like, this is my lot, I'm here, or they romanticize a horrible relationship. And I did that, I loved his family so much, I didn't want to,
Yeah, you wanted to keep them.
But, it's just, it is what it is. And you have to, I think that we're given choices in our life, and you have to find the right ones that go with your heart. And if you don't choose the right choice, don't worry, it'll smack you upside the head again.
Yeah, that path's going to come back around, and you're going to get another choice.
Get you again till you learn that lesson. Oh. So yeah, but it's everybody's different. So take the lickings, but try to see the positive in it, which is all I could do after this past year.
Yeah.
So I got to see my kids. I get to take my daughter to school every morning, Dr. Hoven. Do you know how awesome that is for somebody that's worked mornings for 20 years? Like, to be able to see her and be there in the morning. And I've actually taken a picture of her every morning this year.
You have not?
Yeah, I did. I have. I'm going to do a little thing at the end of the school year. But it's just things like that. I've enjoyed the fact that I'm there with them, because they used to get mean mommy.
You're tired. You're exhausted.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Right. Like, oh my God, you got to get to bed. I can't believe it. I have 4 hours of sleep. Thanks a lot. And so now they get, chill mommy. That's like, it's cool, whatever and it's made them better.
Wow.
They don't yell. Things that I was doing was definitely heading them down the wrong road.
Well, now you're in this position. You still have so much energy, so much to give, so much pep. So now do you have to take that into consideration, what you're willing to do and not willing to sacrifice anymore? Because now you've seen Mean Mommy and Cool Mommy.
Oh, you mean like when I start working again?
Yeah, when you pick your next gig, when
No,
you choose it or it chooses you.
Yes.
Now are you going to put boundaries or parameters?
So funny you say that. Yes. I mean, simple things like I obviously probably won't be there in the morning again. Something tells me my new job is going to be morning-ish. So I won't be there, so I'm just enjoying it while I can. But I'll just make sure that people know, I can't spend 3 hours now doing this as much as I used to love to, because I'll talk like you. Yeah. We'll hang out and talk. We're already probably running late. Like, I will sit down and chat, and let's hang out. And I love people. I love their stories. I just love their personalities. Everybody's got something to contribute. And so I would go and film stuff for the TV show, and it was supposed to be like 45 minutes, and I'd stay for 3 hours. But it's connections, and it's people, and it's fun. And, I've learned from some amazing talent in this town, whether it's chefs or business people or, the people that set up events. There's so much talent in this town, and it's been an honor hanging out with all of them.
Oh man, but you are part of that talent pool.
Yeah, thank you.
You're a big part of that talent pool.
And I just have a cool job, remember?
You have a cool job, but you can be really good at a cool job.
Yes, amen.
So it takes that. Not everyone can do what you're doing.
Yeah, right.
And that takes me kind of moving a little bit into this place of your talent and your gifts. You have this thing for both animals and people, specifically domestic violence, which you've alluded to a little bit.
Yeah.
How do you give back to those? How do you support them? And what awareness can you bring to the viewer, the listener, about those two things, why they're so close to your heart?
So the animals, my nickname in Denver is actually Doggy Avenger. And it's an honor to have that. And I got that because back in the day when we were on the radio, Kendall and Larry, I always was, before kids, I was always rescuing dogs.
And keeping them or taking them to a shelter?
What helping them, like I was the person that, I lived in Old Thornton. So there's a lot of fences that aren't the best. There's a lot, there's a lot of mentality with dogs that aren't the best. And so I'd be the person on the radio just saying, hey, it's supposed to be below 32. Make sure your animals are inside. Hey, those pads on the bottom of the dog's feet, they're probably still going to burn up in a black pickup in the back of a black pickup. Think
about it.
Things like that, And so I was always standing up for him. I had a neighbor. I came home one day and I heard this yelling, like barking, like pain barking. And it was coming down the street, and I walked down the street and I climbed a fence, and my neighbor's pit bull had tried to jump over a smaller chain link fence, but its paw got caught right in it. So it was hanging upside down from the chain link fence. And so I climbed the fence, and this pit bull that was in distress, I wasn't scared of it, thank God, because of all the rescues. But I love pit bulls. My dogs are half pit bulls. So, and then I just helped the pit bull up and cared for her, and it's a lot of education that I try to provide out there for people.
I love that.
I have a deaf dog, a deaf boxer. I love deaf dogs. We do sign language.
Oh.
We speak sign language. But in the domestic violence, but I also love working with the shelters. Like if they have the spay and neuter day, I want everybody to know, let's try to help pet overpopulation. Let's get out there and do what you can. And then there's thank God most rescues, they spay and neuter before you get an animal from them anyways. But the domestic violence, every time October rolls around, let's talk about it, and I have photos of what happened to me, and I want to share my story. I plan on doing it again with my new adventure, going back in and helping the women's shelter and talking to them. And I've been there when your self-esteem's been completely ripped from you, and you have no idea what's happening next, and you have a big black eye, and you're looking at yourself in the mirror saying, how did we get here? I've been there. Whatever I can do to keep helping people understand they got to crawl up,
Wow.
stand up.
Yes. And you have such a powerful voice in that.
Thanks.
And so how do you take all this stuff? And I love you've used this term a couple times, your new adventure, your new chapter, where you're going, that you're navigating the seas of the rest of whatever this chapter is. How do you take all that and put it together? Where are you setting your sails?
I'm setting my sails. I mean, I would love to get back on TV.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I feel like it's time for the real Oprah to step up.
Nice. Nice.
You're back off, Oprah. You go on, enjoy your billions. You're going to be fine.
Very cool.
So that's my dream.
Wow.
So,
I'll tell you what, I'm a backer of your dream.
Well, thank you.
You let me know
Dr.
what I
Hogan.
can do to be part of the wind in those sails, and I'm in. So
thank you, because that's what it is. It's lights all over the community that connect together to help everybody else.
Yes.
So when you find a light, connect, like there's light, like Tammy Quintana, she is a light. I've always known her as my light. So the fact that it's just, some things are just serendipitous.
I love it.
Yeah.
Will you share one more answer for me?
Okay.
So here's the question.
Yes.
If you had one piece of advice that you were given that's been the most valuable to you, or something you've learned along the way that has become that most valuable piece of advice that you would share with me and with everyone watching and listening, do you have one, and what would it be?
I would tell you, if you're merging in front of somebody in traffic, be sure to wave and say thank you.
Okay. And give them space. Give them space.
I am all about, my boyfriend one time was a truck driver, and people always got in front of him, slammed their brakes on. And I'm somebody, to me, it's a funny example, but the real meaning of it is be considerate.
Be considerate.
Be considerate to people, I'm the person that says hi on the elevator. I'm the person that, because we're hanging out. Like, let's be considerate for 2 seconds, let me be your smile in the day, so I would tell you, don't forget how much your smile can impact somebody else.
Wow. That is impressive.
Yes.
Okay.
And be sure to frickin' wave if you're going to cut somebody off, all right? Because then you get me really irritated with my road rage. Like, you just remember, I'm an old school Thornton girl.
Yeah, you don't want a piece of that.
Driving down Riverdale.
That's right. So if people want to follow you, if they want to learn more,
sweet.
Are you on the whole social network? You do all that stuff?
Yes.
How can they find you?
So you can find me. So I spell my name Kathie, Kathy J, just the initial, and that's on Facebook, and then of course Instagram. They don't allow you to use an initial, Dr. Hoven, so I just spell it out Jay. But
that's my middle name, so I can remember
Jay?
that. It is.
Jim J?
Yeah, James J.
James J.
Yep.
You're like my husband is JJ for a Jerry John.
Oh.
Did you ever get JJ as your nickname?
I did younger when I was younger.
Your family probably. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. That's so cute. Well, James J. So please follow me and get ready, because exciting things are definitely coming for me and the Denver community.
Kathy, I can't tell you how much fun I had.
I had fun too.
It went so fast. I can't believe it. And just know you always have my support. Ramos Law in your corner.
Thank you.
Keep us apprised on all the new stuff, and we'll share it out and we're partners.
That's awesome. I love you. Thank you, Doctor.
You're the best. All right.
Jake, we'll hug it out.
We'll hug it out in a minute. That's right. Once we get past these pesky mics.
Right. But to everybody out there, I thank you for all the years you did support me, for all of you that know who I am, and Larry and Kendall, and then Larry and I in our podcast. And then when I was on the TV show with Chris Parente, I am just a girl from Thornton that's just been hanging out, loving this beautiful Denver metro area. area like the rest of you. So it's an honor to get to do what I do and be your voice for all of the foundations out there that have used me at their MC events and stuff. It's just been an honor, and I look forward to what our future holds.
Me too. Continued
Amen.
Success and blessings to you, my friend.
Yay, blessings back. Peace out, people.
Peace out.
I love you.